They're back. Yay. What's up, guys? That guy with a pencil here. Fun fact, I do mean to have it on me and keep it on me at all times. Another fun fact, Escanor and Merlin are back, and I have 10 minutes to talk about what I think about that. So, let's not waste any more time and let's hop right into it. Timer, start now. So, I was initially just going to make a video on Escanor being back, but, you know, this is definitely a dualistic reveal, so let's talk about it, its entirety, its possibilities, what it could mean, what that variance could mean for how I feel about it, and ultimately my initial reaction. So, obviously, if you can tell by the review, that is most likely up by this point, or the live reaction, if you became a patron, for as low as $1 a month, you could remember, for as low as $3 a month, you get the live reaction. I'm not the biggest fan of Escanor in particular being back. It just tickles my toes in the wrong way. And trust me, you don't want to tickle my toes in the wrong way. You can only tickle them in the right way, and there is no right way. But with it being the case, this is also a Merlin reveal. Kind of, sort of, maybe. This chapter is very vague on what this means. Escanor is here, but is this actual Escanor? Is this Chaos Escanor? Is this real Merlin? Is this a piece of Merlin? What is all this? Like, notably, it is so vague. But, big, bodacious, round, booty butt cheeks. The thing that has me a little bit, nettled, and the reason why I feel like this is more tangible and real than I initially thought it could be. Well, not really initially. I was getting talked down because I was talking with homies about this, and I'm so fired up. It's the idea that Kay very specifically refers to them as the real parents, right? Like, notably, he doesn't say you're a fake father. He doesn't say you're a fake mother. No, like, you're real parents. She's as strong as the both of you. As if this truly is Escanor and Merlin. So let's talk about it if this truly is Escanor and Merlin. I'm fine with this thing being Merlin. Notably, Merlin being missing has kind of been one of the ongoing mysteries and subplots of Four Knights. Like, her location has kind of always been super duper vague. Mainly because Arthur's looking for her. We had Meliodas, not recently, but a while ago, right before the cast and crew went on their super adventure in pre-time skip mention. All this could be easily solved if they had Merlin on their side. Merlin this, Merlin that, her being back. Cool. I'm actually happy to have her back because she wasn't confirmed. Boomed. And obviously she's a very powerful mage and a very powerful character, so I'm more than happy to have her back. It's Escanor that I don't like. Mainly because if this is the real Escanor, presumably his soul being taken from the capital of the dead, or the grace that was fused with his soul being taken by Merlin and then given a new body and physical form, all that. The reason I don't like it is because I like the idea of there actually being permanent character death in the sevendeadlysins duology for major real characters like Escanor. Undoing it just so we have Gawain be the child of these two is kinda wacky. Especially considering we had already been dancing around a different idea for Gawain as the child of Escanor and Merlin. It was simply her appearance, her abilities, and by we, I mean a fat chunk of the community, not just a boy, I can quote this for a fact, a fat chunk of the immunity, a fat chunk of the community did believe that Gawain was something of a homunculus, a test tube baby, where ultimately Merlin may have taken a piece of Sunshine, or even Sunshine itself, taken her own DNA, taking what remained of Escanor's DNA, such as the ashes that were blown away into the wind, or whatever was left on her face after she was burned by Escanor, and then made Gawain. And that would explain why Gawain doesn't remember really anything about her parents, anything about her birth, all that. But once again, this chapter goes out of its way to specifically call them parents, call them family, and show Escanor and Merlin inside these things. This weird dinosaur henchman thing and this weird puppet grandma thing. So, like, I just don't know, I don't like it. But let's temper it down a little bit. Obviously, that's the worst case scenario. I explained why I don't like it. I don't like the idea of Escanor coming back. And Merlin, it's fine. Though, admittedly, I was hoping for a more, like, epic reveal than just, you know, she's been chilling in this grandma doll thing, transferred her soul like she did with Alden. The second most reasonable layer is that this is the real Merlin hiding out inside of this thing in order to hide from Arthur and, you know, hide her shame from the sevendeadlysins for releasing Chaos and putting them in this predicament in the first place. And this is a Chaos Escanor, not actually the real Escanor. The only reason I hesitate with that is because, once again, they're called real parents, and that implies that Escanor laid pipe, as if Merlin got pregnant and then gave birth to Gawain, and they just hid that fact from her for some reason. But if this is truly a Foscanor, a Chaos Escanor, that isn't the real Escanor, I'm fine with that. Notably, just as I was fine with the Jade resurrection, quote unquote, because it wasn't real. It was tangible, they could interact with it, but it wasn't real. And if this Escanor ends up not being real and just a figment of Merlin's imagination or the powers of chaos at work, then I'm perfectly fine with that. Once again, I don't mind using dead characters to torture living characters. That sounds really, really mean, but it's just a thing I don't mind. Like, yeah, go ahead, make your character suffer as much as you need to. That's kind of my jam. And if that's the case, I'm completely cool with it. Then there's another layer to another layer of this. Is this a Chaos Escanor, and is this the complete Merlin? Notably, we know that soul splitting or consciousness splitting or anything splitting is a thing that can happen in this universe. We've seen chaos itself get split into different pieces. The supreme deity and the demon king split their power and portions of their souls into different pieces, creating the commandments and the graces. So this could simply be a piece of Merlin partially stored in here as a backup, and then a fake Escanor. If that's the case, and they aren't really at all the real versions of either of these characters, then I'm perfectly fine with that. That allows for the real Merlin to still be off doing something in our own way, and that allows Escanor's death to still maintain intact, and also, you know, not have any negative ramifications on the future, because we never have to worry about why is Escanor not helping. But if I had to pick, if I had to be completely honest with you, of those three scenarios I just laid out, what I think Nakaba was implying here, and what I think Nakaba is trying to get across, I'll be real, I think Nakaba is just saying these are the real people in these weird amalgamated twisted forms. And notably, I didn't even notice this, but someone pointed out that these physical forms they have here may flat out not even be vessels, but straight up illusions. Because if you look here, in the mirror where we see Dubs, the back of Kay's head, and what should be the reflection of this dragon thing, you see the real Escanor. Implying that all this time it's just been Merlin, presumably, maintaining an illusion magic to have them look like this, rather than them actually being vessels. And obviously, once again, she truly does resemble her parents. Like she was birthed, meaning they do actually have to have real physical forms. And I'm not sure if it's possible for chaos figments to, like, create life and stuff like that. Remember, they don't age. They don't interact. Heck, it's not. We aren't even sure. Like, once again, we didn't get enough of Boris's backstory to know if his fake sister even ate things. So, like, it's hard to tell with this Escanor if he were a fake, and maybe they can make life. I don't know. That feels like a weird thing. Like Merlin getting your cheeks clapped by a fake Escanor is kind of just strange, I'll admit. So I feel like it kind of has to be the real deal. But once again, we loop back around to my negative feelings about that. So if I had to pick the most likely one, I think it is the first one. This is just the real Merlin, the real Escanor, hiding out from Arthur, right underneath his nose, and they gave birth to Gawain. Do I like the narrative choice? No. I would have kept Escanor dead and Merlin missing. On 100%. I wouldn't have minded if Gawain was truly the homunculus style thing, or a test tube baby, made from the remnants of Escanor, and made from Merlin, but not actually their direct descendant. Honestly, making her the direct descendant of those two, just, it doesn't necessarily make the world smaller, because it was already small enough with Gawain being one of the Four Knights, but it just makes it less interesting, and it makes Gawain's whole struggle with identity a lot more basic and feel a tad more contrived. I guess the main reason Merlin and Escanor chose to hide the fact that they are actually Gawain's parents is because they didn't want her blabbing about it to anyone, especially Arthur. But at the same time, it just feels weird. Like, I could get the idea that Gawain was hiding things before Gawain had stuff hidden from her before because her nature was an unnatural one. And who knows, it still could be. That's the thing. It still could be. There's so much up in the air. There's still so much that's vague about this, that these truly are just my initial thoughts based on what little I understand. I'm not sitting here and saying that chapter 192 was super in-depth and clear on what these things are. It's clearly worded and shown this way to be as vague as possible, to rip out a reaction from me and other readers of Seven Deadly Sins. Whether it be a positive reaction to see this duo again, or a negative reaction to see this duo again, it's a lot. But did it accomplish its narrative role, and its writing role, and its engagement role? Absolutely. I've seen so many different opinions and engagement all over Escanor being back and Merlin being revealed to be alive and fine. So technically, I can't sit here and lie to you. Nakaba, even if I don't think he cooked with the revival itself, he did, actually, unfortunately, cook quite a bit on this narrative plot point. And I'm interested to see how it plays out in the long run, for better and for worse. But I do believe, yep, I am in fact out of Timmy time. So if you made it all the way to the end of this video, please leave greedy son. Greedy, or I guess I could say gluttonous son. Yeah, leave gluttonous son in the comment section down below. I did thank you so much for watching. Please remember to leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe. And make sure that all the case posts you know myself on any videos that come to the channel. Also, you're going to have a Patreon down below where you can support me for as low as $1 a month. Things like exclusive videos, early content, and more. So now become a member of the channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. So those perks include the live reactions of the series I have to review, and variations of all my videos. And if you become a $12 patron or a $12 member, you can order whatever video you want. Also have a link to my Ko-Fi in the description down below, where you can drop 5 minutes for a short video, 200 minutes long video, or any beats at all, and these support is always greatly appreciated. Now, thank you so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is Dagger the Pencil, writing off. I'd like to give a thank you to our sketch tier members: Eternal Flame, Red Wolf 4765, Astro, Super Flame Zero, Glacier XZ, Zara, Brandon Payne, J2MA, Gyomi, Yuki Ally, Buddha Uda, Azo 2404, Planet Crone, G Prosper, Nevis 97, and Ollie. I'd like to give a big old thank you to our line art tier patrons: Sean, Nirvana Igneal, Midnight Lord 21, Kevin Encarnacion, and A+A. And I'd like to give a big old thank you to our Ink tier members: Fine, Austin Wimberly, Euchia, Carlo Alaimo, and Grim. And then I'd like to give a big old hefty thank you to our digital art tier members: J Warrior and AZ Void. And then I'd like to give a big old thank you to our colored art tier patrons: Walkie Munoz and Walkie Munoz. And then I'd finally like to give a giga super duper kidney sacrificing thank you to our ultimate, that guy with a heart on the horizon, Calvin Elder.